So this is, guys, what we've covered so far, just to remember. So we finished point of view, setting and characterization, theme and conflict. For those who haven't attended all the sessions, you will find the PowerPoints at least, and later I'll put the videos on YouTube. Predictions and irony, literary devices like figures of speech. Main idea today, we'll discuss this, and actually we discussed inferences, introduction to grammar. So this is what we've covered so far. So today we will, and fragments also. So today maybe run-ons and short part for the subject-verb agreement. So let's now start with the summary. And actually it's very related to the main idea, which this was the lesson for yesterday. Okay, guys. So summarizing, you've read a story or you read a text, or maybe something which we do all the time. For example, you go out, and then when you come back home, your mother asks you, what did you do today? So you give her a short summary. You went out for 3 hours, so you are trying to just narrow down whatever important events happened with you. Details maybe is too much because you spend there 4 hours, so you cannot just repeat everything you've said and you've done in those 4 hours. You just focus on the main points. Okay, so this is what we are doing now. The same thing when we are reading a story or we are reading a text. When we are reading a text, so maybe you read a very interesting story, you watched a movie, and then you tell your colleague about it. So he asks you, what is this movie about? So you just give him maybe 5 minutes sum. So this is the same case. We all the time do this, but like speaking, but now we need to do it like reading and then writing. Okay, so let's get started. So this is very related to the main point or the main idea which we discussed yesterday. And Ed, you can send me, you can take a picture and then send it to me as a attached file on here or on Telegram. So as we
Mr.
said,
Dia, can I just send it to you like a picture, Mr. Dia?
Yes.
Mesh. Okay.
So summary, it's a short account of the main ideas in a text. But remember, guys, that summaries are not place for opinions. We usually do this, yes, when we are watching a movie and then give a summary, but this is different when we are reading an informational text or when we actually are answering a comprehension or a passage, because some of you get, like, you put your opinion in the answer. No, we are not asking about your opinion. We just ask about the opinion of the writer. Opinion, like the point of view. What else we need to know? Also, not a place for background information. Let's say you are reading an article, or in the test, you are reading an article about gravity or human evolution. Okay, so gravity, it's a theory, it's a fact, some kind of scientific fact, and this is what you know. Or let me give you another example. A few years ago, they decided that Pluto is actually not a planet anymore in our solar system. This means that we have now 8 planets only. Okay, the writer, and you don't know this. Let's imagine that you don't know that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dia.
Yes, Ahmed.
Mr. Dia, I'm sorry. I just didn't pay attention to the tablets.
No worries. So let's imagine that you didn't know this. This is a new information for you, and then
No, not this. Let me explain. I was just waiting the meeting to start.
Okay, good job. Don't interrupt me again. So so you don't know that Pluto is now not a planet, and then you are reading a text, and he actually is telling you this information that Pluto is not a planet. So in your answer, there are some choices, maybe A, B, C, D. And you know 100% that Pluto, and this is what you know from before, that Pluto is actually a planet, and we have 9. But this text says different things, says the new information, which maybe you didn't know. So you cannot say, yes, is Pluto a planet? Yes. Based on what you know from before. No, you don't build your answer, or you don't choose your answer depending on what you know from before. It depends on what is here in this text. Okay. Another example for opinion. I didn't give you an example for opinion. So let's say this text is saying that it's fine to be a racist person. Okay, this is against your opinion. Your opinion, you can share it with your friends, but in a test, you don't share the opinion. You share just the opinion of the writer. He said racism is fine, or to discriminate others or persecute others. He says it's fine. So you answer depending on what he said, not on what you believe in. Okay, this has to be very clear. Personal information, which is related to background. You know this from before, but actually it's not the case. You thought that some cats can fly. We don't care about your personal information. We care about what's written in the text. So let's now, of course, how to summarize. Reading a lot, I said, will make it easier for you, and you will know all the skills which we discussed actually by default. No, you will not need someone to teach you, you should do this, you should do that. You read a lot and your brain started working, like practicing, like working out, and it knows by itself what should I do and what I shouldn't do while reading. But of course, if you are not reading, so whatever we are taking is useless. It's just theory. You have to practice. So read the text, of course. Don't let big words scare you. What does this mean? Sometimes there are new words which I haven't seen before. Doesn't matter. Don't be worried. Maybe you will understand the meaning of, or maybe this word is just not that important, or maybe you will find the meaning of that word later on. Okay? All the time ask you, like this last session when we discussed the main idea, all the time ask, what is the text about? It's about cats. Okay, what about cats? What about cats? Cannot be just about cats. Types of cats, different types of cats. How cats evolved, evolution of cats. Cats in ancient Egypt. All the time ask yourself this question. Don't go to the questions, and don't never ever go to start answering without knowing the main idea, without, just 1 second, please. Just let me, never go to answer the questions, or even go to the next paragraph unless you know the main idea of the passage, which is usually mentioned in the introduction. Okay, let me remove this just a second. So 3 things. Remember, read the text, of course, how I will summarize without reading. Don't go to I ask you, for instance, I ask you in school to read this story and summarize it. Don't just go to the internet and write summary for this story. You're not helping yourself. You are deceiving yourself. You read it and you summarize by yourself. Don't just get the answer from the internet. You're not helping yourself. Don't let big words scare you, not all the time. But I recommend anyway, whenever you are home reading a text, your dictionary is with you. You are opening Merriam-Webster, Al-Maani, whatever dictionary. Some tablets have the option to translate. If you press on them, they give you a translation. Okay, but in tests, you don't have this option, of course. Your answer, what about your answer should be what? Should be a complete sentence or 2 when you are asked to summarize. Of course, if it's multiple choice, you will not be asked to write anything. Should cover the main point, the main idea, and also the supporting ideas or the ideas which support the main point. And of course, should be in your own words, as I mentioned, not just copy and paste from the text or from the internet. And your answer should not be just a word. A word or two, this is maybe the main idea of the whole text. But summary is different. Summary, you have to mention the main idea in a sentence, and also we'll discuss the reasons for so and so and so. So it discusses the main. So summary is like the second level of the main idea. As I mentioned, what should be in the summary? The major ideas, not just very details, or like what we practiced last time or yesterday, that sometimes it's not everything in the text is not that important. Okay. So necessary information, major ideas, this what should be in my summary. And ask yourself, does this information, has to do with the text or my main idea, or not that much? So if yes, put it in your summary. We already discussed this. What is the main idea? Is what the text about. Key points are like the supporting details of my main idea. Okay, never ever again go to answer a comprehension passage unless you know the main idea. The key points are written in each paragraph, but the main idea usually in the introduction, and it's repeated, and usually the last sentence or two in the introduction, and also in the conclusion. Okay. So let's read this text together, and I want you now, read it carefully. I give you 3-5 minutes. Write me a sentence, a full sentence, please, what this text about. Like a short summary. Maybe we have like 6-7 sentences. I want you to just write me 1 or 2 sentences summarizing all of this. Read carefully, please. Focus on the main idea, and just give me the key points, the main points in the text. Get started. Usually the word which is repeated, I said, has to do with the main idea.
Mr. Dia, you're lagging.
Okay, guys, give me a summary. 1 or 2 sentences. Write the answer. Text me the answer.
I'm sorry, mister, I don't have any copybooks.
Ahmed, silence.
What?
Ahmed, silence.
What the? What the? What the?
What the?
يا ابني ما تهدى يا عم.
Suffering fuckatay.
يا ابني احترم نفسك.
Okay, guys, I haven't received any answers so far. If whatever I'm writing is confusing, I'll remove it. Just I need a summary.
I just have nowhere to
for
write
this.
in.
By the way, Ahmed, you haven't joined the Telegram group till now. Why haven't you
I
asked
just
your
don't know
brother?
how. It wants some
So as you have
SMS
your
code
brother
that I
who-
cannot get.
Your brother was able to do it,
He
so I
tried
think you
to do
can do
this.
it.
I asked him, he couldn't.
Okay, so now you can send me a message in a chat.
Okay.
I'm waiting for your answers. No one, the 5 minutes is finished. Hi, Nadia, Jana.
I still haven't finished, Mr. Dion. 1 second.
Okay, guys, anyone? Ahmed, Wasim, Nadia, Jana, are you here or you're sleeping?
I already sent it to you.
Yeah, I'm here.
I have Ahmed only. It's about the history of the materials from which pennies were made. Okay, this is one of
Sorry
the
that
key
I read
points,
the word penny is not right. Sorry.
but it's not the main point. What about
But
you,
this
Jana,
is the
and
only
the
thing in
rest?
which this paragraph is talking about.
It's about
This
the
time
word.
the pennies were made
It's
out
about
of
the word war. About the history of the war.
Let's about history of what? A penny for your thoughts. If it's a 1943 copper penny like very small amount of money, coin. It's made of copper. If we found a one which is 1940 made, a copper penny made in 1943, it could be actually be worth, it can be like $50,000 if you have such copper penny or you found it somewhere. You can sell it for $50,000. Let's know how is this. In 1943, most pennies were made out of steel, since copper was needed for World War II. So instead of making the money from copper, they used steel. Why? Because copper was used in making weapons. So the 1943 copper penny, this one, that's why it's very expensive. It's ultra rare. Rare, like cannot be found easily. There is another penny here, the one which is made in 1955, double die penny. What does this mean? These pennies, that's why we said don't be worried about difficult words. Sometimes they are explained later, or most of the time actually. These pennies were mistakenly double stamped So they have overlapping data. So it makes different ones, and you have a lot of shapes and different shapes on this 1 pound. This is rare. Nobody has such thing. It's a mistake, yes, made by the factory, which is producing those pennies or coins. But actually, if you have such thing, nobody has such thing. So you can sell it. It's a rare thing. This one even can get you $25,000 if you have something like this. So in other words, a rare copy. So maybe a summary. This passage is discussing ultra rare copper pennies made in 1943 and 1955, which can get you a lot of money. Maybe this is a very quick summary for the passage. Let's see some incorrect example responses or some wrong answers. This text about pennies. What about pennies? What about them? This is too short. It doesn't include any main ideas. Another example for incorrect response. This is too much. The 1943 copper penny is worth a lot of money. Copper was hard to get during the war, so there aren't many of them. Just short. The 1955, this passage is discussing why the 1943 and 1955 copper pennies are worth a lot of money. This is a very short, not all of those details, too much details. And the main idea is actually not clear. This text about two very rare, valuable pennies, this one and that one. That's all. Which can get you a lot of money, or which worth a lot of money. Let's do this. It's very easy. We'll have some nursery rhymes, like the songs or the rhymes which your parents used to sing for you when you were younger. Some kind of poetry. So read carefully and let's see who will get the answer first. Number one. Who can give me a very quick summary for what's here? The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Can you give me a short summary for this small poem? You can switch on the mics and you can answer if you don't want to write. Okay, I'm waiting, guys. Jana, I didn't hear
Mr.
you.
Dio. Mr. Dio, can I
Yes.
go a second in the bathroom, please? Can I go a second in the bathroom?
Yes, go quick.
ماشي.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Wasim.
This passage is about the problems that the Bitsy had while climbing the spot.
It's about a spider who was trying to climb a water spout.
Yeah.
Yes, and he failed at the beginning and then he succeeded. Yes, very easy. So Ahmed, Wasim answered one. The next one for Jana. Okay, forget about this one. Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to give her poor dog a bone. But when she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor dog had none. Can you give me a summary, Jana? Jana, are you here or you are sleeping or what? Because we'll consider you absent.
Now I'm here.
So what do you think? Can you give us a summary for this short rhyme or a nursery rhyme?
The mother went to the duck to give him a bone, but then she found him dead.
Dead? Where is that? We didn't see anywhere. Anything to do with death. We have, yes, a mother went to the cupboard to give some poor dog a bone.
She found him. He doesn't have any bones.
Yes, she found nothing, so the poor dog had none. Okay, good job. This one for, let's see who will get it, Ahmed or Karim or Nadia. So any one of you can give me the answer. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack, so we have two guys, Jack and Jill. Jack fell. Up Jack got and
This
home
is a
did
story
Charles.
about Jack and Jill who are climbing a hill. Then Jack Footy, sorry. Then Jack fell
then Jack
and
what?
was hurted. Then they go home and we're trying to and then his head was mended in vinegar and brown paper. Mr. Dia, do you hear me? Mr. Dia, do you hear me? Mr. Dia, do you hear me?
Matt, can you please stop?
No.
عادي على فكرة the video call يعني the Zoom meeting is recorded so they're going to show to Miss Nagda عادي.
Guys, where's the teacher?
Sam and Max, the freelance police. I'm gonna watch Popeye cartoon.
عامل ايه؟
نعم.
عامل ايه؟
أقول لك كويس يا عم مش قادر.
You're despicable. I would agree with you, brother. Listen, Bob.
Ahmed, stop please. Okay, so let's continue before we start answering. So we said we have to read the text. Don't be scared of big words. Ask yourself all the time, what is this text about? Your answer must be to the point, should be complete sentence, should be in your own words, shouldn't be just one or two words.
Mr. Sir, I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Mr. Gia, can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, okay, go.
Thanks.
So let's do an exercise now. Worksheet, I sent you this worksheet also on Telegram. So what will we do here, guys? We have a comprehension passage. And in this comprehension passage, at the end, we have some questions, okay? So what will we do now? We have different paragraphs. Each paragraph usually has, or not usually, all the time has one main idea, but mainly the main idea is at the beginning of the text, okay, which is the introduction. So we'll try to summarize. We will read, I will choose you one by one to give me a summary for this. You say the summary, I will write it down. And then I will leave you to answer the questions. And you will find out that, of course, you are getting better mark. So this is what you should do every time actually you are answering a comprehension passage. You're all the time highlighting while reading. You are just writing a few words just to remind you what was this paragraph about. So when you meet the questions, you don't need to have to go, where did I read this? I've seen it, but where? Of course, it's too much words and you will not remember. Your memory is just using your short memory to answer this. So of course, if you just write very small, now we are not doing short information. We are just going to maybe one sentence, but later in the test, maybe just one or two words, which you can understand to make you remember or remind you what this paragraph was about. So let's read this first paragraph, and the first person to answer will be Karim. Read the introduction, which usually includes the main idea of the whole paragraph. And then tell me, what is this paragraph about? I'll read with you. If you are reading this right now, you are taking part in the wonder of literacy. Literacy like reading and writing, okay? Because of printed words, people can send information across both time and space. Ideas are put in writing and sent to readers across 1,000 miles and years. Because of writing, the words of distant people can influence events, offer knowledge, and change the world. Much of the credit for the development of this phenomenon, which is printing or writing, can be attributed to one man. What can be this text about, Karim, after what you've read? What can we write here as a short summary for this? What do you guess? It's about what, Karim?
Mr. Karim.
Karim cannot speak. Okay, let me choose
Can-
another one. I will choose Wasim. What do you guess, Wasim? What's this paragraph is saying? Anyone answers? Anyone can answer?
No.
Jana. So this mainly it's discussing printing and how printing can be attributed to one man. Like someone maybe invented the printing machine. That's no, this is actually the paragraph is about. So how, and here it's telling us that because of writing, the words of distant people, for example, now we are reading text of people who died 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago. We're living in different places, different time. So writing importance. So this is the passage about printing and how printing changed the world and can influence a lot of events, offer knowledge and change the world. Let's see who is this guy who, because of him, we are reading this PDF passage now. Johannes Gensflisch zur Laden zum Gutenberg, famous by Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing machine. Was born in Germany, city of Mainz. Though most of Gutenberg's early life is a mystery, historians believe that he studied at the University of Erfurt in 1418 and spent much of his young adult life practicing the profession of his father. What was his father doing? Goldsmith. Has to do with gold. Gutenberg borrowed money from investors, a businessman, in 1439 and found himself in financial trouble. So how can we summarize this paragraph? Another very short background information or early childhood background info about Gutenberg. We can write early childhood life, early childhood, and how he became what, and his financial troubles. So those are the main ideas mentioned so far here. Let's go next. In the year 1439, the city in which Gutenberg lived was planning to exhibit its large collection from the Emperor Charlemagne, a famous exhibit like a place where we can see paintings, ancient things like a museum. So they were planning to exhibit or show large collection for a very famous European ruler during the Middle Ages, a famous ruler who united much of Western Europe. Okay. The exhibit was expected to bring many visitors to this town. So Gutenberg took investments and created polished metal mirrors, which would be sold to the visitors. It was a common belief at that time that the mirrors were able to capture holy light from religious relics. At that time, mirrors, by the way, were not that popular. You cannot find them easily, okay? The mirrors which Gutenberg produced probably would have sold well, but due to severe flooding, the event was delayed by 1 year. So because of some flood, this museum or this exhibit didn't go, and they delayed it for 1 year. He was planning to sell something in there, but he failed because of the flood. The impatient investors demanded that Gutenberg give them back our money. You took some money from us, now give it to us back. But he had already spent the money on doing those mirrors. He was trapped in a difficult situation. Gutenberg decided to share his greatest secret with them. So another, or maybe if I summarize it in words, financial trouble because of Charles Mack exhibit cancelled. And of course, I don't have time to do all of this. This is not a sentence, but it's too much also, and it's going to waste some time from my timing in the test. So I can just write, money. I can write some symbols for myself. Money, no money. Because of what? Some mirror. I just made some shapes which I can understand, and makes it easier for me to remember which paragraph was discussing that he had some problems with money because of some mirrors. Can you see? I just drew some symbols, didn't take me 1 second. But you have to do this. Paragraphs are not, the passages you have now are not very short. It's not just one paragraph. Sometimes you have a passage with 8 and 9 paragraphs. So how you will remember all of this unless you write some small notes for yourself to make it easier for you, and of course highlighting dates, important names, important events. This secret, so let's know what is the secret he was going to share, because the investors now want back their money, the debts he had for them. He owes them. This secret would forever change the world. All of history, and even the process of keeping history. Of course, this is one of the greatest, we are reading now about one of the greatest inventors of whole time. It changed the world. Finally, now people read. They were living in dark ages. Nobody can read. Nobody can, and those who can read, they can just read religious books only, and they are not anyone, just the priests. Nothing was printed. Just 500 years ago, people started reading. Can you imagine this? This secret would ever share all of history and even the process. It's been argued that Gutenberg's idea was one of the greatest of all mankind. This one idea would lead to the spread of countless others. Okay, it would play a key role in the development of Renaissance. Those are very important periods or eras, which how Europe is now is because of those. And I think you studied this in social studies. This idea would bring learning. So you can just summarize this by the greatest idea. Gutenberg had created the mechanical printing press. So what is this? Printing. So what you will do now, I will leave you now, guys. I will come back in 30 minutes. You answer questions from 1 to 10. You answer questions from 1 to 10. You can take screenshot now, or it's already, no, don't take screenshots. It's already in on Telegram. Okay, so see you guys 11:15. Answer questions, please, from 1 to 10. Okay, see you.
Bye.
Any questions?
يا مستر، هو الإكزام اللي هناخده في المدرسة ده اللي هو الريدنج هناخده ده اللي حضرتك بتقول عليه ولا حاجة تانية؟